The amusement park loomed in the moonlight like a carcass of twisted metal and faded dreams. I didn't ask for this job. It found me. Security at the derelict Sunshine Wonderland, more like babysitting a ghost town. But the pay was decent, and it was supposed to be an easy gig. Just one more week until demolition day, and I could finally move on. The night started like every other. I did my rounds, flashlight in hand, weaving between the broken-down rides and crumbling food stalls. The Ferris wheel towered in the distance, a skeletal reminder of the park's glory days. It creaked ominously in the breeze, but I was used to that. What I wasn't used to was the chanting. It was faint at first, carried on the wind like a distant melody. I froze, my heart racing as I strained to locate the source. The Ferris wheel. The chanting grew louder as I approached, a guttural symphony that sent chills down my spine. My flashlight beam danced over the rusted gondolas, finally settling on a group of hooded figures gathered in a circle at the base of the wheel. Candles flickered in the dark, their light casting distorted shadows on the ground. "Hey!" I shouted, my voice cracking. "This is private property. You need to leave." The chanting stopped abruptly. The leader, a tall man with piercing eyes visible beneath his hood, turned to face me. "You shouldn't be here," he said, his voice calm but dripping with menace. "The dead demand justice, and you've awakened her." "Who's her?" I snapped, trying to mask my fear. "Look, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but..." The ground trembled beneath my feet. A low rumble resonated through the park, followed by the screech of metal grinding against metal. My flashlight flickered, and when the beam steadied, the group was gone. Only the candles remained, their flames now a sickly green. I should have left right then, called the cops, abandoned my post. But something, curiosity, stupidity, or maybe the faint sound of child's laughter, drew me deeper into the park. The first sign that something was horribly wrong came at the carousel. It had been stationary for years, its paint chipped and horses frozen mid-gallop. Now, it spun lazily, the haunting tune of Greensleeves playing from nowhere. My flashlight revealed no one nearby, just the horses, their glassy eyes seeming to follow me as I backed away. A scream pierced the air, cutting through the eerie melody. I turned and ran toward the sound, my boots crunching on gravel. The scream led me to the bumper cars, where one of the hooded figures was trapped inside a car. The vehicle jolted and slammed into the others with unnatural force, as if controlled by an invisible driver. I watched horrified, as the figures had slipped back, revealing a young woman's terrified face. "Help me!" she shrieked, reaching out. Before I could move, the bumper car accelerated into the far wall with a sickening crunch. The lights on the ride flickered, then died, leaving only silence and the faint coppery smell of blood. The spirit was real, and she was angry. I staggered back toward the main path, my breaths ragged. Shadows shifted in the periphery of my vision, growing longer, darker, more solid. They moved with purpose, circling me like predators. One of the shadows lunged, and I swung my flashlight in panic. The beam passed through it, illuminating a child's face, pale and streaked with tears. "Justice," she whispered, her voice echoing like a broken record. "Justice for us." The shadow vanished, leaving me trembling. The cult leader's words rang in my ears. The dead demand justice. But justice for what? I stumbled into the House of Mirrors, hoping to lose the shadows in its labyrinthine halls. The place was even creepier than I remembered, its once cheerful decor now faded and warped. My reflection stared back at me from every angle, but something was off. In one mirror, my reflection smiled, a cold, malicious grin that wasn't mine. I turned to run, but the mirrors closed in, trapping me. My distorted reflection surrounded me, their mouths moving in unison. "You were part of it," they hissed. "You looked away while we suffered. What are you talking about?" I screamed, my voice bouncing off the glass. "I don't know you." But deep down I did. Memories flooded back. Flickers of a childhood visit to this park. A girl I barely knew. A child who went missing and the rumors that followed. The park's owners had hushed it all up, chalking her disappearance up to negligence. I had been too young to understand then, but now the truth clawed at the edges of my mind. I was part of the offering. Not just tonight. This was years in the making. The spirit wasn't just seeking revenge on the cult. She wanted retribution from everyone complicit in her suffering. And that included me. The mirror shattered all at once, shards raining down as the spirit's full form materialized. She was grotesque and beautiful, her face pale and her eyes burning with unholy fire. Her dress, tattered and stained, floated as if underwater. The remaining cult members screamed as she descended upon them, her wrath swift and merciless. Their bodies twisted and crumpled like paper, their screams cutting off as quickly as they began. I ran, but the park itself seemed alive, conspiring against me. The ground shifted, the rides groaned, and the air grew thick with the scent of decay. I reached the Ferris wheel, my only chance to escape. The spirit appeared before me, blocking my path. "You cannot run from justice," she said, her voice resonating with countless others. "You cannot run from me." I dropped to my knees, tears streaming down my face. "I'm sorry," I whispered. "I didn't know." She tilted her head, regarding me with something akin to pity. Then she reached out, her icy hand closing around my wrist. When the demolition crew arrived the next morning, they found the park in ruins. The Ferris wheel had collapsed, its gondolas scattered like toys. They found no bodies, only a single security flashlight, its bulb still flickering weakly. And in the silence of the wreckage, they swore they could hear a child's laughter carried on the wind. The fluorescent lights of the subway car flickered overhead as I clutched my backpack closer, tapping my foot nervously. It was late, too late for a lone college student to be riding the last train home. But my shift at the library had dragged on, and I hadn't wanted to walk the dark streets to my apartment. The train lurched to a halt, and the doors hissed open. A man in a crisp suit stepped inside, the faint scent of cologne wafting in with him. He sat across from me in the otherwise empty car, smoothing his tie as his sharp eyes locked on mine. I tried to look away, but the intensity of his gaze was unnerving. "Late night, isn't Emma?" he said, his voice calm and measured. My heart skipped a beat. I didn't recognize him. "Do I know you?" I asked, my voice wavering. The man smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Oh, we've crossed paths before. You just don't remember yet." He leaned forward slightly, his hands clasped neatly in his lap. "How's your sister doing?" "Lucy, isn't it? Studying abroad, if I recall correctly." Every nerve in my body screamed to get off the train, but I was frozen. My throat felt tight. "How do you know that?" I demanded, my voice sharper than I intended. He chuckled softly. "I know a lot of things about you, Emma. About everyone, really. It's my job." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small, tarnished amulet. It dangled from a thin chain, its surface etched with strange, looping symbols that seemed to shift when I tried to focus on them. "You've been chosen," he continued, "to join us, to understand the truth. The cycle must continue, you see." The train jolted again, and I took the opportunity to bolt toward the doors as they opened. I didn't care where we were. I just needed to escape. My feet hit the platform, and I sprinted toward the exit sign. But as I climbed the stairs, my surroundings seemed to blur. The walls stretched unnaturally, the graffiti shifting like it was alive. My pulse thundered in my ears. When I reached the top, I stopped cold. I was back on the same platform. The train was gone. The air felt wrong, heavy, oppressive. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, flickering weakly, casting distorted shadows on the walls. My breath quickened as I turned in a circle, my eyes scanning the space. Symbols, like those on the amulet, were etched into the tiled walls. They glowed faintly, pulsing in a rhythm that made my stomach churn. "Emma," a voice whispered. I spun around, but no one was there. Then I saw them. Hooded figures emerged from the shadows at the edge of the platform, their faces obscured. They didn't move, just stood there, watching. I backed away, nearly tripping over my own feet. My hand brushed against the cold metal of a bench, and I gripped it tightly, my knuckles turning white. "Stop it," I shouted, my voice echoing eerily. "Leave me alone." A low, Guttural laugh echoed through the station. I turned to see the man from the train stepping out from the darkness, the amulet swinging lazily in his hand. "You can't run from the cycle, Emma," he said, his tone almost gentle. "It's inevitable. What do you want from me?" I asked, my voice breaking. "Acceptance," he replied. "You've been chosen to carry the burden, to keep the balance." I shook my head violently. "No, I'm not doing this. I'm not." My words faltered as the hooded figures began to move, closing in slowly. Their presence felt suffocating, like they were leeching the air from the room. In a blind panic, I lunged at the man, grabbing the amulet. It burned against my palm, but I didn't let go. "You want this?" I shouted. "Take it back." His expression darkened. "Don't be foolish," he warned, reaching for me. But I stepped back and hurled the amulet against the ground. It shattered with a deafening crack, the symbols on its surface bursting into a blinding light. The station erupted in chaos. The walls seemed to ripple and dissolve, the hooded figures disintegrating into smoke. The man let out a furious roar, his face contorting unnaturally before he, too, vanished. I was left alone, the heavy silence pressing in on me. My knees buckled, and I collapsed on a platform, gasping for air. When I looked up, the station was different. Normal. No symbols, no figures, just a cold, empty platform. The train tracks hummed softly, as if the world hadn't just turned upside down. I stumbled up the stairs and out into the cool night air, the city lights never looking so welcoming. My legs carried me home on autopilot, my mind racing. When I finally locked my apartment door behind me, I collapsed on the floor, shaking. Days later, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I avoided the subway entirely, opting for buses and long walks instead. Then I made the mistake of searching for the station online. It didn't exist, not officially anyway, but there were rumors, stories from people who claimed to have encountered the same looping nightmare. They all mentioned the symbols, the hooded figures, and the man with the amulet. Few escaped. Most just disappeared. I deleted my search history and tried to move on. But some nights, as I lay in bed, I swear I can hear the faint hum of a train in the distance and the echo of a voice whispering my name. The cycle, it seems, is not so easy to break.